All right, we're live. Live on YouTube, actually, for the first time. Well, I think not the first time, but I'm really going to try this again just going forward. Okay, let me just do the audio and we get started. Earnestly podcast coming to you on October 15th, 2021. How you guys doing? I'm actually recording this actually on the YouTube live stream, although I'm not really live yet. Trying to use this new platform, or newer platform for me anyway. Of course, this podcast is subscribed to all podcast catchers, especially on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, Stitch Radio, all that good stuff. Anybody has a podcast platform or catcher or maybe uh they probably have the show on there. So how you guys doing by the way? How you guys doing? Not really quite the backdrop I'm looking to have yet, but my little New York Mets jersey behind me. First off, on number one. Uh Man, I am just been really stressed out last couple of days. Last couple of weeks actually, to be honest with you. And the reason why I'm saying is I'm not to complain, as a parent, but you know, um parenting is a challenge. Being a dad is a challenge. And um one thing I'm really trying one of the things that parenting has really oppressed on me in these 8 years, 8+ years of being a dad is patience. Testing my patience. I've always been a kind of in the middle guy when it comes to patience and whatnot, and then become a dad. And then I became a dad, and then after that, being a patient guy has been something that it's been a challenge for me. I ain't gonna lie to you, it's been a big challenge for me. Kids in school, and both boys are growing, and behavior, and different things, emotions, and all that. And I've had a couple of moments where I'm like, what the hell, you know, the wife too, especially. It's not easy, but we, it's a team effort. Her and I go through it. And if you want to know where your patients lie, if you can actually think if you think if you truly think you're a patient person, be a parent first, and that will tell you ultimately whether or not you can actually hold the fort down and take care of business in that way. Um, but I love my kids though; they're fantastic. Both do well in school. I think my kid's going to Saturday school actually for the first time for the next couple months. Not every day, but not every Saturday, but every so often. I think once a month maybe. For his test he has to take in March, so it's preparation for that. And I'm proud of him, especially too. He actually willingly said he wanted to do this, so it's good to see that. It's good to see he's taking initiative in a lot of these things to better himself. You know, I always tell him, I always tell him all the time, I want you to be better than I am, better than I was. Always shoot for being the best person you get, the best of you can be. You know, if it's anything I leave to my kids when I go is being the absolute best person. Make sure you are able to take don't leave any stones unturned. Any doors that are open that have opportunity to go through. You go through those doors. You live in a country where we can be divisive all you want, and certainly we have our issues in terms of divisiveness, divisiveness and whatnot. But there's still a lot of opportunity in this country, and I want them to realize that you can still be the best you here. So anyway, we are a few days from the NBA season. I'm very excited about that. Next Tuesday, actually, the first, I think, is the kickoff for the NBA season. The tournament went quick, obviously, but I mean, shortened year because of the COVID, and we've had now 3 seasons in a span of a single calendar year. We had the end of the 2020 season, um, literally last October, NBA Finals between the Heat and the Lakers. We literally just had the end of the 2020, technically 2021, but they did play a couple days in 2020 of this past season, which had literally the 2 month turnaround. And now we're going to start the 2021-22 season. There's a lot of things to look forward to. Obviously, the new look Lakers. When I say new look, when I say new look, I mean more so they added Russell Westbrook to the roster. The Clippers are going to be out Kawhi Leonard for a little while. The Ben Simmons saga, which we'll talk about in a second. Um, it's lot of things to look forward to. There's also a lot of drama going into it too. The Kyrie Irving thing and the vaccination, his willingness to not get vaccinated, if you will, and that's been a controversial position about the discussion across the board on both sides. And you come to find out that he's not even so much anti-vax, more so he says he's the voice for the voiceless, which to me makes no sense because the voice of the voiceless are pretty loud about their positions. I follow many people who are anti-vax or don't believe in the mandates, if you will, that are and by the way, a lot of them are also on both sides of the aisle, politically speaking, as well too. This is not just this is not just solely a Republican position. Although I will say, most people will agree that the majority of the people who are against the vaccination mandates are of the right side of the political spectrum. Let's be real here. That is the case. But in the case of Kyrie Irving, though, the Nets came down with their decision this week. Either you play or you don't. Either play 100% or don't. And not also, and as right now, he has not gotten vaccinated yet. He has not reported to the team yet. And furthermore, he's also has what was I gonna say? I forgot. I'm on blank there. The team announced also yesterday that they do not plan on extending his contract. I think there was talk about them trying to do an extension, but now with all this drama, and I gotta be honest with you. Look, say what you want, but where your position is on the issue and whatever, I get it either way. But the Nets, I admire the Nets here putting the foot down, saying, "Listen, we're just gonna ride through this out, and then we're not gonna do business with you anymore." And I get it, and I actually agree with what they're doing. Ball's in Kyrie's court, you know. Kyrie's a weird bird, man. I've said it before in the podcast. He's a strange bird, you know. I don't know what his reason for doing here. He keeps saying he's a voice for the voiceless, but I don't buy that because those same people are not being silenced. They're actually quite loud. They're quite loud. You can't miss them anywhere. You know, anti-vaxxers are not being. When I say they're not being shut down, in other words, they're being heard. The battle is very much being had between both sides of the argument. So that's pausing that noise real quick. Again, I'm not. My position on this has been pretty much been consistent from day one. I'm myself. I am vaccinated. I am against the federal government getting involved in enforcing things outside the jurisdiction. Now, and again, if a private business wants to enforce it on their business, they can do so. I get it. I get it. The government can actually influence that. Whether or not they hold back money and whatever the bullshit they do all the time. By the way, I think it's honestly it's just, it's in bad faith in my opinion most of the time, but whatever. But again, it's ultimately to the private business, private owners, private citizens to decide what's best for them. I will say, still, I will still encourage people to still get the vaccine because I still think it's something ultimately. The numbers the numbers do favor that if you take the vaccine, you are likely to survive this thing. In other words, no one's saying that the vaccine cures you getting COVID. You can still get COVID with the vaccine. Okay. What the vaccine does, once again, if people are not listening, open your ears. What the vaccine does is it prevents the worst case scenario. Again, I'm going to say it one more time. The vaccine does not prevent you from getting COVID 19. But what it does do, it prevents you from having the worst case scenario. Most people who are dying recently, most numbers support that the fact that most people who are dying from this thing are unvaccinated, and again your choice. I get it, and I support the idea of my body, my choice. But I also can say too, as a free speech absolutist, that you are being foolish. You're being foolish, and how much? I mean, is your wife is your life worth? I mean, putting a life on this. I mean, I don't know. I can't tell what to do at the end of the day. All I can say is get the vaccine. Get vaccinated, please. Stay in the NBA also too here as well. The possible Ben Simmons and the Sixers possibly having a resolution. Ben Simmons reported to the team a couple days ago. Now there's still talk about him getting traded. There's still a lot to get around, but I tell you, money talks. Ben Simmons realized real quick, if I keep sitting out here and whatever, I'm gonna cost a lot of money. Hey, that again, we all have choices to make. So do you, so did your boss, your business, your business, all that. Wow, today I'm slurring my words. I'm really tired. I probably should be doing a podcast, to be honest with you, but I really wanted to get it in. Um, um, but we'll keep an eye on that situation as Ben Simmons decides what to do. While he's reporting the team, we'll see if he suits up next week for the opener next week for the Sixers. Looking forward to that. Um, let's talk Donald Trump real quick. So Donald Trump was in Iowa last weekend. And he's been doing these little campaigns here since losing the election last November and whatnot, and leaving the White House in January. So it's not really abnormal. I mean, although you don't really see much of it, like because it's funny him not being on social media. It's a big difference because he was one of the more loudest people on social media. I mean, obviously he has the platform to do it, being president at the time, but it's a big difference now when we don't see Donald Trump on social media and he's not being reported about since leaving the White House in January. But he was in Iowa once again, doing a campaign. Well, not campaign, but giving a speech, whatever. But the rhetoric this time, the way he was talking, as though he's like as though you would probably assume that he's definitely running in 2024. Now, my position on this is that I think Donald Trump will dangle the idea of running for president in 2024 and then ultimately the last minute pull out. I don't know if Donald Trump wants that kind of stress again. Then again, his ego says otherwise. Who knows? If I had to put a percentage of chance he runs for president in 2024, I would put it at 30%. At 30%. There's definitely a possibility of him doing it. But I don't know if he has the energy to do it. And to be honest, even people who support him, I got one of my really good friends who loves Donald Trump. But even he has said that he'd rather him not run for president because he's too polarizing, because he has the party fractured. And let's be real, the Republican Party has shrunk in size in the last couple of years because of many reasons, because of the direction's going in. You could argue Democrats have also lost members as well too. Obviously, Andrew Yang, as I mentioned in the last solo episode we did, he left the party last couple weeks ago. But I am still skeptical on Donald Trump running for president. I still think he'll dangle it to the last minute and then ultimately pull out. I still think you have a Ron DeSantis. I think you have a Nikki Haley. Anyone those really popular Republicans right now that are standing out. That will ultimately be the nominees, or candidates rather for the Republican Party. I just don't think Donald Trump will run. I don't know. And then he's seen also too. He says he's threatening, basically saying that Republican voters will not vote if certain people aren't being pushed to this and that. And why is he encouraging his own base to not vote? I mean, don't you want Republicans to win, at least win back the White House and the Senate, and hold on to the Senate as well as win the House, or not hold on to the Senate, but rather because the Democrats have the Senate by the vote, but win back the Senate and the House? I mean, come on, why would he do that? It makes no sense. I don't know. Donald Trump's still fast. Even post presidency and not even hear from him, he's still very fascinating. He really is. He's a very fascinating guy. Whether you love him or hate him, he's a very fascinating guy. Yesterday I actually watched the Dave Chappelle special on Netflix, his last one, that he's contractually obligated to do, The Closer. Dave Chappelle has been in the news a lot in the last week, especially too, not only because of the special, but because what the special contains. Basically, he's been having these up and down battles with the transgender community, for comments he's been saying throughout the entire his entire run of these specials. I mean, probably even before that. And I'm a big fan. I'm a big Chappelle fan. I was never a big Chappelle fan of his stand up until recent years. Maybe because of the way he delivers it. I was more into straightforward comedians growing up. Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor. You name it. Dave Chappelle's style is a little more. I guess I don't want to say lazy is the word, but his style is kind of like for stand up. He's direct, but he's not. It's just kind of like I don't know how to explain it, but his style didn't suit me really much. I didn't hate his old stuff. I just wasn't a big fan in the same way I'm of Eddie and those guys I mentioned. But as I got older now, I've started to really enjoy his work, especially in the fact that his work is not just funny; it's also intellectual. This one, the closer was actually, in my opinion, the least funny of the bunch he's done, but also the most serious. And that's probably why I like it so much. I love the balance. Like I love that comedians that can play both sides of the fence. They can play dirty. They can say the wacky thing, but also have you thinking about the bigger picture. Obviously the stuff about the transgenders, like I get it. I get why they're mad, but in my opinion, I didn't see the stuff that he's saying. I didn't see it as in the same way offensive in the same way that. And again, I'm not transgender, so I'm not gonna. I can't necessarily say that speak on behalf because I'm not them. But I, I just I looked at the things he was saying is I thought he was pretty clear what he meant. And to be honest with you, like are we all tired of all being offended by every little thing? Is every single thing we hear offensive now? I mean, I'm so numb to it now at this point. It is what it is. My thing is this: if you don't like what he says, don't freaking watch it. Don't fucking watch it. It's that simple. We had employees that have gotten fired since then for are the ones that leaked out the whole thing, and there's a couple of other employees that walked out. Netflix is throwing support at it, which they should. And I don't know. I didn't take it the same way. And I'm someone who, I'm pro free speech. I'm also pro rights and all that. And but I didn't. I thought the content he was saying on his special didn't resonate with me as being as hateful as you know it's been led to be. I just don't see that. I enjoyed it, and yeah, you hear some things he says like a little bit queasy, like whatever, maybe, but then this is comedy. This is what comedy is, honestly. I mean, I don't know. I didn't find it as troubling as others made it, but again, I'm not transgenders. I can't speak on their behalf, but I'm just saying it from my perspective and what I gathered from this special. I know it sounds cheesy and like whatever, but it's what it is. This is how I felt, and that's just that. Okay, so all right, what else here I want to talk about? Uh, so early in the week, I dropped a podcast with my wife, my friend Ron, and we had like a almost 2 hour conversation about many things. One of the things we talked about was Ted Lasso. The whole reason we were doing the podcast was actually to talk about Ted Lasso, and somehow that podcast went sideways into other things and stuff, which is fine. I had a great time. But Ted Lasso just finished the second season. Um, all I can tell you guys is encourage you guys to watch Ted Lasso. It's a fantastic show. Great character development. Season 3 will be out next August. That's the rumored time frame when they're releasing the next season. Um, man, all I can tell you is just go watch it. It's a fantastic show. It's a fantastic show. It's the best show in real time I've watched that's grabbed me probably since Breaking Bad. Honestly, I know it sounds crazy to say that because it's two different type of shows, but man, Ted Lasso it'll have you crying, it'll have you smiling, laughing, you name it. It's a the type of show I didn't think, and maybe because I didn't expect much from it until I kept hearing people talk about it the last year or so, and ultimately I started decided, hey, you know what, let me just jump into it and just watch it. Again, my favorite characters in the show, Roy Kent, it's fantastic. Um, Also, if you watch the show, you don't why I'm saying this. Fuck Nate. Nate's an asshole. And we'll see how that story arc goes in season 3 when he's now the coach of the ex-husband of the wife of the current team. that he just bought another team. Yeah. Uh, but yeah, fantastic show. I'm gonna watch it again probably, like again just cause. And I don't normally do that like that soon, but I have the urge to watch it again. Either I watch it now or I'll wait till probably going into July, August next year when we get a date what was going to be released, and just time it perfectly and just watch it again through. So, but yeah, I can't encourage you enough to watch the show. It's a fantastic show. I'm also in the middle of binging The West Wing season 2 right now. My wife and I are watching that together. Remember I said that show I've watched in parts throughout the years, but I never watched the entire show until now. And another show that I kick myself wondering why the hell did I wait this long to watch it? Especially somebody like me who's into politics, and the insides of politics, and watching this. I mean, this is like perfection for me personally. So we've been watching that. So it's gonna be fascinating how it goes now because basketball starts this next week and is right now in in the heightened state right now, both college and pros. You also have uh, baseball playoffs right now in the championship series now as it is right now. So right now is the best time to be a sports fan, but also the most annoying time of the year for my wife because she knows my eyes and ears are everywhere else, but watching binging our shows. This time in October, late October, early November is the worst time to deal with me because I'm always into the sports stuff. But to be fair, I've balanced that out a lot the last couple of years. She can't complain about that. I've really done a good job of balancing that last couple of years. I look, you got a family, you got other people who value your time, and you have to sacrifice something. So I sacrificed a lot of sports in the last couple of years. I have to watch every single game. I watch every Heat game at least, but the Heat is important. And to be fair, my wife also she loves basketball, like so she's okay with watching the Heat, especially. So we were, but football she's not really. Like she said, she hates it, but she does follow it in some ways because she'll ask people scores and how the Saints are doing and how the Dolphins are doing, and she'll at work watch it too because it's on in the background. But she hates it because she thinks I'm more passionate about football than about basketball, which I'm a bigger fan of the NBA than the NFL, but the NFL has more meaningful games week to week. It's only 17 games, whereas the NBA has 82, and you kind of have an idea who's making the playoffs every year in the NBA. The NFL it's always an ever moving, ever cyclical situation where like one team make the playoffs this year and will be out. It's a lot more parity in the NFL than in the NBA. So I don't know. I read this article the other day too. The last thing before I get out here, I read this article the other day. In Vox, was it either Mike.com or Vox.com? I can't remember which one it was, but the possibility of Britney Spears not performing, being done performing for good. Obviously the Britney stuff has been news a lot, especially in the last year because of her conservatorship, which she ultimately has now. Her dad is no longer in charge of. She's gotten control back. And there's been a lot of speculation about whether or not she'll actually go back to performing again because one of the things that she was doing under her dad's watch was she did a lot of performing. She actually had the residency, especially in Vegas, which really turned her career around. You can argue she had a second wind of her career after the disastrous 2008, 2008 time. But there's a lot of speculation about whether or not Britney Spears is done performing. And to me, honestly, if she can afford not doing it, should I do the same thing too? Honestly, if these rumors are true, because the reason why people are speculating too, because you're seeing people leave, people who were involved in her day to day performing life are no longer part of it anymore, for whether good or bad, and it's breeding speculation about whether or not Britney Spears actually is even in a frame of mind to want to perform. Even if she wants to, does she even want to do it right now? She's, you know, she's newly engaged and she has her kids and she has said on the record that she wants to have more kids. So Britney Spears may not actually be Britney may not be back anymore. She might just be, okay, I'm good. I have my money and, I can do residency here and there and whatever, and I'm done. I think her priority now is, at least what it seems to be from the outside, is raising a family. So Whatever she does, man, I support it, man. Free Britney, obviously, and I love following her on Instagram. I'm not the biggest Britney Spears fan, musically speaking, but I'll say this much from my end. I was never one of those guys. I'll say it again. I'll brag to the day I die. When everybody was shit on Britney Spears back in 2007, 2008, the ball shaving her head and her going crazy. I never once piled on, not once. I knew back then that it was she was in trouble, and I had a soft spot. First, I'll say it again. For some reason, I've always had a soft spot for her and for Lindsay Lohan. I don't know what it is. I've always had a soft spot for those two. I don't get it. But I am starting my words here, which means I'm probably done. I should be just finishing this podcast now because I'm exhausted and tired. Worked all day today. Got to work tomorrow. So, of course, you got to be on Twitter, EJ Christian 7. Of course, the YouTube page, Earnest EJ Christian YouTube page. I've started organizing, the playlists and stuff. Hope you guys also enjoying the Football is Awesome podcast. If you're a sports fan, listen to this feed. We've been doing that for the last couple of weeks now. The Football is Awesome podcast. It's been going about an hour long now, well over an hour now. I think each episode's gone over an hour and 40 minutes now, which is fine. It's fantastic. Which is fun, So I'm gonna get this a little bit shorter, but sometimes the conversations in each of those segments just goes, and sometimes you have to let it go and let it lie, So, also this Sunday coming up, I am planning on doing my NBA over unders podcast with my friends Zach Degenerate and Chris Prismatic. So look out for that as well too. But I guess that's it. Till then, we'll talk soon. And God bless and love you guys and take care and see ya.